Welcome back yet again. I'm out here with Dot. She's currently dead, and I'm not really planning on reviving this engine again. But I am walking through my 54 Chevy truck. I don't want to call it a graveyard because the far end one was actually a GMC in a former life with a Chevy nose on it right now. Dad's yellow Suburban. Dot, my brother's panel's back there, my extra chassis. But I am going to flip this thing around and show you guys what I'm robbing off of an actual parts truck. And when I get back to GSC HQ, walk through what's going to happen to the new engine. And Dot is going to have a Corvette spec 235 inline 6 put in her. So literally race truck. It will no longer be a pickup motor. So flip this around and show you guys what I'm stealing, borrowing, truck parting. It's like my own personal junkyard for these things. It's great. This is Radar, my brother's 50-ish Chevy parts panel that he bought. It was a drone launch device that was built for the United States military back in the 50s, which explains the gigantic holes, the immaculate roof rack, and all the other crazy things. It was in Florida, and as you can see, well, it was near a beach, so she's a little crusty. But that's why I'm parting this engine out to put the other one together. As you can see, the block is cracked all the way down the side, which is no bueno. This is a 216, not a 235, but I need all of these special washers and fasteners for this intake manifold to put my 235 together. These bolt spacings are a little bit smaller on a 216, right around 1/4 of an inch. So I have a 235 manifold at my house, and I will yank these fasteners out of here, show you guys the manifold, explain what's going to happen to that, and like I said, hopefully show you the Corvette engine that's hiding in GSC HQ, and that way we can get Dot back to doing Dot things. So I've made it back down to GSC HQ, and there's the Corvette spec 235. As you can see, she's missing a couple of things. Manifold, that's what I was getting down at the farm. This water pump is a long shaft here, so I've got to go ahead and use my short shaft that I got from Classic Parts. Do a couple other things here. I'll get it put together, buttoned up, and hypothetically, maybe I'll have all the parts on by the end of the week. So we'll see. Here's our parts from the farm. Intake exhaust manifold combo, all the bolts with the fastener washers here. This is my new short shaft modified water pump that I bought with the billet pulley they make. And that way everything lines up the way it should. I've got a gasket, all my plugs here. So I'm going to pre-assemble this. See what I can do to figure out what color I want to paint it. Might be black because I don't have any Corvette blue. And make sure the pulley's good and cleaned up. You can see there's a couple of burrs down those holes. Knock those out of there. And then hypothetically, this can go on. This I'm going to clean up. I've got to make sure this actuator actually actuates. And right now, it sure doesn't feel like it. So get the penetrating oil on that. Get this cleaned up. Get this painted. Get these cleaned. Get these painted. Clean our threads off because they are a little gummed up. And that'll get us one step closer to getting this thing assembled. Little catch-up progress here. The new water pump is on and has the port for the heater and everything. I do need to find my spare thermostat housing. It has managed to walk off. So I'll find that. I think it's the farm. Got a distributor sitting in here just to see how everything's going to look. Found the road draft tube. It was actually in a bin from the owner that I bought the engine from. Everything looks pretty good. I cleaned out most of the ports and got some of the overspray and dirt out of them. I took the car side mount motor mounts off because it wasn't a Corvette. And I found my extra 54 Chevy truck timing cover. These two little holes are crucial because that's the motor mount for the truck. And if you look here, this timing cover is solid. So I need to go ahead and bust out a Sharpie, overlay the two, and drill a couple holes. And that way, this beauty can go in the truck, and I won't really struggle with it at that point. So, working on that. I've got the manifold out in the sun drying. I got the heat riser flap moving and motivated. So, I'll get some paint on it and see if we can't put that on the engine tonight. And I might even try to drill some holes. So, we'll see. And the trek continues. So, here's that intake exhaust manifold that I pulled out of the barnyard. It actually sanded up pretty good. And gonna just throw some high temp black paint on it. And that way it's not totally crusty on that pretty blue engine. Get that installed once the paint dries. The only thing I need to do is try to possibly clean up these fasteners. And I think I know how I'm going to do it. Mr. Sandblaster, little bolt heads. So I'm going to grab some sand, load this thing up, let that dry, and see if I can't get this engine completely assembled today, because I'm apparently on a roll, and, well, it's a beautiful Sunday in Michigan. So the Sandblaster doesn't do too bad. This is one of my purchases from when I got the Lincoln as well. Pull these out of here. It's like an easy bake oven, only for cleaning. Didn't do too bad. The coal slag that Charles brought down yesterday for chainsaw parts is a little bit big, so it gets caught in the nozzle. So you just gotta shake the nozzle like a baby rattle. But other than that, these are, I think, clean enough now that I'm not gonna feel too bad putting a coat of paint on them, and that way I can get my Manifold here installed later today. But yeah, pretty good progress. I found a fan in the garage, so I painted that quick because it was already stripped. And manifold's baking dry, so start cleaning up some of this mess and paint some bolts. So it's been a couple hours. I've made a trip down to the farm for parts, and I've done a half dozen other things. But Dot's new 54 235 Corvette spec motor is pretty much put together. I've got a couple of odds ends. I need some bolts and some fasteners, but I'm gonna flip the camera around and show you guys what I've been doing for the last, well, it's been a while. So I'm gonna flip it around. So here's the same engine I started with this morning. As you can see, I've got my nice new tappet cover on it. I found my road draft tube. I've got my distributor in. I have my nice new water pump on. This is what I need fasteners for, because apparently they use a different size than the factory, which is okay. I've got bins of bolts at the farm. I just don't have anything here in my messy garage with Dad's chassis in here and small block galore. So worry about getting this bolted on another night, especially since the fan that I have actually doesn't fit with this pulley. So I've got to do some figuring and get that sorted out. The motor mount holes for the truck have been drilled in this front plate, both of them. So it now looks like that. So I can bolt on to the front cross member. Exhaust and intake is on. Everything's nice and shiny black again and fastened as it should be. Brand new gaskets, nice new cleaned up hardware. So as of right now, all I need to do is get this thing spun around to top dead center, get the distributor dropped in its correct location. I'll bench time it first. It has to come off the stand. Then I can put the bell housing flywheel clutch assembly on it. I've got a nice new cleaned up chrome valve cover that's not been hit by what looks to be about 10,000 golf balls, because this one's got all the dents in it. And I do have the rest of my thermostat housing sit at the farm. So that being said, not too bad for a couple hours of work. It's pretty much to the point now that if I wanted to put it in the truck tomorrow, I can. I have a new fuel pump already in the truck. That'll go there. I have a new carburetor on the truck, so I'll rob that out of Dot. Oil pressure gauge fitting over here, so I've got to kind of get that sorted out. Get my throttle linkage bolted onto the side of the engine because it's a vertical horizontal swing. It's a kick, so I'll get that on here. But other than that, it's an engine. So hopefully as this week goes by, I'll be able to get it finished up, buttoned up, and go from there. So now you know, this is what I've been working on. So Dot's new 235 is pretty much where it needs to be. So I hope everybody had a great weekend, and we'll catch you on the flip side.